Dear students, today we are going to talk about very important sense organ of human beings, that is eye. You see, eye is life, so we must be very much careful about maintaining our eyes. Today we will talk about the main functions of human eye and the main parts of the human eye. There are so many other parts which we haven't mentioned because it is not in terms of physics, so we don't talk about other minute parts of the human eye. We are talking only the main parts, and then we will also talk about the defects in human eye, which is mainly concerned for physics, and we will talk the remedy to remove those defects. Now, one thing I will tell you what the blessings of Almighty is for human beings. We are provided with a lens which is having variable focal length, and this is aimed at enabling us to see the distant objects as well as the near objects with equally comfort. But when some defects comes in, then we have some problem. So let us understand what is the main structure of human eyes. You see, we have a big ball which is eyeball, and it is filled with fluids which is also transparent, and in that fluid is immersed a lens which is called eye lens. Its shape is convex and it is hanging by means of muscles which is known as ciliary muscles, and these muscles on our command can shrink, means get shortened, or elongated, means get long. And while it is doing so, the eye lens, when the ciliary muscles are shrinking, its length is reduced, so the lens is pulled up, and that means the central part, the thickness of the lens is reduced, so the focal length of the lens is increased. And if the lens is elongated, then the ciliary muscles are elongated, means made long, then this lens comes to have a shape which is more bulging in the center, and in that case the focal length of the eye lens is reduced, means converging power is increased. When the lens is increasing its length, the converging power of lens is reduced. When its length is increased, the converging power of lens is increased, means when it is more bulging, the converging power is increased. Now, how it helps us, let us try to understand. When an object is placed in front of our eye, what happens? The ray coming from eye is allowed to enter our eye lens through a path which is known as pupil, that is a gateway. It allows the light according to the intensity. If the light coming from object is very bright, then the area of the pupil is reduced, so that only adequate amount of light is entering our eye and not disturbing the operation of eye, the working of eye. And in case we are looking in dark, we need more light. In that case, the pupil, the gateway widens up, and so more light from greater area is collected to have enough intensity, enough light entering the eye lens, so that the image becomes visible to us. Now here you see this lens converges the image in general on a space which is known as retina. Here we have retina on the either side of the wall of the eyeball, and here in the retina we have two type of cells. One is rod cell, another is cone cell. Rod cells are sensitive to the intensity of light, and cone cells are sensitive to color of light. If we have enough intensity of light, then only the cone cells, that is our eye becomes sensitive towards color. If we don't have enough brightness, enough intensity of light reaching the retina, then the color is not perceived, not detected by the eye, because cone cells do not work in case the brightness of light is not adequate. Now we have, when you see the eye lens is supported through the ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles can be elongated and shortened according to our will, according to our requirement, and these ciliary muscles are hanging on the walls of the eyeball. There is a strong cartilage layer extended over this part, so that the human eye is having protection from any external damage. This is known as iris. And cornea is a layer over the eye lens, which is also having which is filled with transparent liquid. And now when the light ray is coming from object converges at this point, means image of that object is formed on the retina by the eye lens, then equivalent amount of electric signal is produced by these cells, rod cells and cone cells, and these electric signals are sent to our brain through the nerves which is known as optic nerves. And when these nerves carries the electric signal to our brain is having different parts for different work, and there is a visually part in our brain which is responsible for vision, and this signal is received by our brain, and then the vision is perceived, means a body is seen by us. Our brain is having a special property to retain the image of a vision of any object for 1/10 seconds approximately. This is known as persistence of vision. So what is the blessing to us is that our eye lens is having variable focal length, and that means it enables us to view a distant object or a near object without moving ourselves. Means eye remains static, only the focal length of the eye lens is varied, so that the image of the object is formed on retina. This is done by nominal adjustment controlled by our brain. Now, in case we have normal eye functioning, this happens, but there are certain defects in our human eye. They are mainly long-sightedness, short-sightedness, presbyopia, astigmatism, cataract and glaucoma. Out of these, the first two are related to our physics concern. Well, you see, in case of long-sightedness, a human eye is able to see only distant objects. Means near object, those objects which are very close to our eye are not visible clearly. And nearsighted means it is such a defect in which a person is able to see only near objects and is unable to see the far objects. So in this case, in the case of long-sightedness, what happens? If we see a near object, okay, long-sightedness means you are able to see the distant objects clearly, means there is no problem. But if the body is very close to our eye, the image formed by our eye lens alone is not formed on the retina. It is found far beyond that. Therefore, the vision is not clear. Then what we need to do is we introduce a convex lens of proper focal length such that the image of near object is restored from somewhere outside the eye and brought to get formed on the retina. This enables now the human eye to view the near objects as well. So convex lens of proper focal length, as the problem is, will be decided, the focal length will be decided according to the depth of the problem. Now in case of long-sightedness, what happens? The near object, we have no problem in viewing near objects, but in case a far object of far objects, the image formed by the eye lens alone of the far objects by eye lens alone is not formed on the retina, rather it is formed just before the retina, means it is formed somewhere in between the eyeball but not on the retina. So what happens in this case? We are not able to view the far objects, a person who is suffering from nearsightedness. To enable that person to view far objects as well, what we do is we introduce a concave lens of certain focal length such that the image of the far object is now formed on the retina. And in that case, once the image is formed on retina, we are able to see the far objects as well. So this is how we remove the defect. We mean defect is there, but we are now able to view the far object and near object both. So that is what we are doing with the specs. We are having a specs having convex lens or having concave lens. And if a person is suffering from both the defects, nearsightedness as well as short-sightedness, then in that case you will see the lenses of the spectacles are having two variety placed in same glass. The upper part is having used to see the distant objects, means suffering for nearsightedness, distant object. For that you have concave nature of the glass in the upper part, and to see the near objects, especially it is used for reading, so it is placed, the convex lens nature is in the lower part of the spectacles. So these are the two main defects. Someone may have both of the defects, someone may not have both the defects, and the other defects are there, but they are mainly not of this field of physics. They should be dealt very much in details in the field of biology. So that's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.